Hey y'all, what's up? I hope you're well. My name is Patricia, your born and raised small town girl, here to remind you the unthinkable can happen anywhere. Welcome back, guys. If you are here for the first time, welcome. I am so glad you are here. Today we are doing a little final thoughts episode to close out our Route 29 Stalker series. I want to talk about if I believe there is even a Route 29 stalker, as well as things that I have questioned about some of these cases. At the start of this series, the question was, could all of these cases be connected and could they all have been done by one person or possibly a couple of people working together? After researching all of these cases, I do not think they are all connected. However, I do believe there is a Route 29 stalker. Let me explain. We were wondering if the cases that are in Reddit threads and on Google searches when Route 29 stalker is searched were all connected. But we found that evidence proved that isn't possible. With Morgan and Hannah, Jesse's DNA was found. With Alexis, her DNA, hair, fingernail, and eyelash was found in Randy Taylor's camper. If we are not questioning the outcome of those three cases, then that proves it was not the same person. But the reason I do believe a Route 29 stalker is real is because the man who abducted Alicia and murdered her was stalking Route 29, pulling women over. When I think about Alicia, Thelma, and Ann, they are all different age, different lifestyles, different MOs by the suspect. But they were all found in a very small area that is secluded and not known about by many people. It is wild to think that 3 different killers would be in this secluded area within a small time frame. You want to believe they are all connected rather than believe 3 different evil humans were in Lignum, Virginia at the same time. While I believe these 3 cases are connected, I do not believe they are connected to the cases of Alexis, Samantha, Sage, Hannah, and Morgan. The only way in my mind that they could be connected is if there is a group of people who do this together, which could be a possibility. Hell, with all the depravities we are discovering as more of the Epstein files come out, I don't doubt that something like a serial killer or trafficking group could exist in Virginia, especially when you think about Sage and Samantha. They both were never seen again. No evidence, no remains, nothing. While I do believe Randy Taylor is involved in Samantha's disappearance, I am not opposed to the theory that he was doing this as a part of something bigger. If this was a bigger ring of sickos, it would definitely be possible, maybe even easy, for powerful people to make the cases look however they want. They could absolutely plant evidence, have evidence planted, or make evidence disappear. And if I'm being honest, I do question some of the evidence as well as how things occurred in some of these cases. The thing is, every single suspect we spoke about in this series has been connected to at least one murder, and most of them are in this area. Some of them more than one. Is it really too far-fetched to think these monsters know each other, or worse, do their monstrous deeds together? In some of these cases, we know, or at least according to evidence, we know who the suspect is. Like with Sophia Silva, Katie Lisk, Christy Lisk, and Kara Robinson, who I wasn't able to include in this series, but I do believe I should do an episode about them in the future. We know Richard Evidence is responsible for these gruesome crimes because Kara escaped, and evidence found linked him to all the cases. But we don't know if he is possibly involved in any of the other cases that have been linked to the theoretical Route 29 stalker. We also know that according to evidence, Jesse Matthews is responsible for the deaths of Morgan Harrington and Hannah Graham. I do question some things about these cases, though. To be honest, in my opinion, the sketch provided did not look much like Jesse Matthews. I also question why the shirt that Morgan was wearing was found in an area that had definitely already been searched. Why would Jesse Matthews take the shirt with DNA evidence linking him and place it on a tree where it would definitely be seen? That is mighty lucky for investigators. I guess we could assume he did this as a way to play a game with investigators. There's no doubt his DNA was found on the shirt, but like I said, it would be possible for a powerful person to make that happen. Even more strange to me is what happened the night of Morgan's disappearance. When she left her friends at the concert to go to the bathroom, she was fine. They did not say she was drunk drunk or acting weird when she told them she was going to the bathroom. But yet, when she supposedly left the arena on her own and was outside, she was highly intoxicated. How? How did she go from maybe a little buzzing to barely able to walk? Did someone drug her so she could be a target? Similarly, why did she feel she needed to hitchhike? Her car was right there in the parking lot. Her friend inside had her keys. I said this when I covered her case, but it makes absolutely zero sense to me that her friend didn't just run the keys to the door for Morgan to chill in the car until they were done with the concert. Furthermore, why did she even go outside? The only thing that makes sense to me is she was targeted. Someone drugged her somehow, which caused her to start acting weird and led her to being outside, which made her a vulnerable, easy target. Morgan's case really seems like there could be a group of people involved, but the evidence investigators found linked just Jesse Matthews, who was also found to be responsible for Hannah Graham. The way that Hannah was abducted is similar to what happened to Morgan. She seemed super drunk or drugged when she was last seen. As we talked about when we covered her case, there were many things that pointed to Jesse Matthews being her murderer. However, some things didn't fit when I think about it. Like the fact that in the video from the downtown mall, it is clear two men were approaching Hannah. Police say one of these men was Jesse. They never said who the second man was, but when they spoke with him, his answers to their questions were sketchy at best. First, he gave a description of Matthews that was not a fit at all, but after Jesse became suspect number one, he changed his story to say the man he saw with Hannah looked like Jesse Matthews. I'm saying his description went from a man who was wearing black and had a bald head to a man who had dreads and was wearing white. Not only that, in the video you can see the guy in question duck in a doorway to wait for Hannah to pass. He started moving toward her after she passed by him hiding in the doorway, but walked away when he saw Matthews approach her. He claims that's what happened at least. What if this man is somehow involved in a theoretical ring of people involved in these horrific cases? I hate to question the investigators, but it will also be too easy for men of power to be involved in something like this and make it so other men go down for it. Not saying Jesse Matthews isn't responsible, just theorizing if he could be the scapegoat who does the dirty work for the more powerful. And when he got caught, the people who have more power within this possible ring made sure he went down. I have also considered this with Randy Taylor, the killer of Alexis Murphy. The way some of the evidence was found in his trailer seems weird to me. Instead of finding all the evidence the first time they searched his trailer, they supposedly uncovered more evidence during the second search that was in a place that seems to me would have been searched the first time. Taylor is suspected to be responsible for Samantha Clark's disappearance and possible death. Unfortunately, there was no evidence that could prove he was involved. What if he was somehow involved in this hypothetical group, and when he was messy with Alexis, instead of protecting him, they made sure he was caught? In my opinion, this could be very plausible. Not saying it's true, just plausible. Even when you think about Sage's case, everything about Sage's case makes me believe my theory even more. She disappeared without a trace and has never been seen since. No evidence and no answers for her family. We know that this is very common when people are trafficked. They will be picked up leaving behind nothing. Sadly, Sage hasn't been seen since she disappeared. To me, this makes the possibility that she is being trafficked by a group of disgusting humans more of a viable option. The same is true for Samantha. I feel for their family so much. It has to be absolute torture to just not know. I know it sounds crazy of me to theorize that there is a ring of monsters working together to feed their disgusting desires, but we have definitely seen it as possible. To be honest, a group of people seems more plausible to me than it being one person. Yes, the cases have so many connections between them, but they also have evidence that shows there is definitely more than one person. So if it's more than one person and there are some connections, it leads me to hypothesize. If we take all of the cases where connections can be made in one way or another, we have 19 women and children assaulted and escaped or murdered within an 18-year period. And we have 6 possible suspects among those 19 cases. We have Randy Taylor, believed to be responsible for Samantha Clark and found guilty of Alexis Alexis's murder. Then we have Jesse Matthew, found responsible for Morgan Harrington and Hannah Graham, also found guilty of a brutal assault. He is suspected to be involved in the cases of Sophia May Rivera, Autumn Wynn Day, and Cassandra Morton as well. I also wasn't able to include these cases either, but I do hope to be able to cover them one day. The next possible suspect is Daryl Rice, who is responsible for attacking and assaulting Yvonne Malbasha. As I talked about in Alicia's episode, Daryl's father lived in the Route 29 area and had a truck that matched the description of the truck Alicia was seen getting into the day she disappeared. He was also identified by Carmelita Shomo as the guy who attacked her with a screwdriver after he pulled her over and claimed something was wrong with her car. But as I said in Alicia's episode, Daryl isn't the only person she identified as her attacker. She also identified our next suspect, Richard Evidence, as the man who attacked her first. We talked already about Evidence being responsible for Sophia Silva and the Lisk sisters, as well as the kidnapping and assault of Kara. There is no evidence tying Evidence to any of the other cases. He does have a resemblance to the sketches provided during Alicia's case, though, but so does Daryl Rice. Alicia's family felt there was more of a resemblance between the sketches and Rex Heuermann, who is known as the Long Island serial killer. So he is already connected to horrific murders not even in this area. But it was found his mom lives in Palmyra, Virginia, which is along Route 29 and not far from the Culpeper area, and he supposedly came to Palmyra to see his mother frequently. I'm going to post pics of Rice, Evidence, and Heuermann on my socials along with the sketches so you guys can see how many think all three of them look like the sketches in some ways. Y'all can tell me in the comments if you think Heuermann looks the most like the sketches, like Alicia's family believes, or if you believe there is more resemblance between Daryl and Richard Evidence, or if you think there's no resemblance at all. You guys let me know. Lastly, we have Walter, aka Leo Jackson Sr., who was found guilty of the brutal murders of Julianne Williams and Lauren Winans, who were found murdered in the Shenandoah National Forest 17 days after Alicia's body was found. They were found only 25 miles from where Alicia was found. That's 6 disgusting humans found guilty of horrible crimes operating in the same general area from 1996 to 2014. Is it truly possible they weren't connected in any way? That's a hard pill for me to swallow, to think there were really 6 serial killers terrorizing Route 29. Or is there a group of many men like this who operate together, look out for each other, and throw their fellow sickos under the bus when they risk the group being found out? It breaks my heart that some of these families may never have the answers they deserve. I truly hope justice will be served in every single one of these cases that I have covered and mentioned. I want to know what you all think. Do you think that there is a Route 29 stalker? Do you think these cases are connected? Do you agree with my theory at all that this could be an organized group of monsters doing the unspeakable together? We cannot prove the connection between these cases, but one thing these cases have proved is this type of horror can truly happen anywhere. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please subscribe so you will be notified when new episodes drop. Also, please give your girl a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at This Doesn't Happen Here on Instagram and Facebook, and at This Doesn't Happen on TikTok. Also, if you could rate and review the podcast wherever you are listening, that would greatly help the podcast out, and I would appreciate it so much. Until next time, remember, pure evil doesn't have city limits, and this does, in fact, happen here.